So you want to talk about the upcoming record?
Yes.
Yeah, I hope you got all that on film.
Absolutely, I did.
So we finished all the guitar parts, bass, drums, everything a couple weeks ago. I've got to do vocals starting in a week and a half, so I've got 12 songs I got to sing on. It'll come out in February. It's a really different record for us. It's songs from all over the place. We're calling it, the rough terminology we're giving is inspirations and instigations. So it's it's got a it's definitely leaning a certain way. I guess maybe because I just turned 50 this year, and I'm kind of at that point where I feel like I want to close the door on that part of my life and kind of move on. So lyrically, it's a little profound for me, I think, which is interesting. I didn't think I'd be doing it this long anyway, so I feel, obviously I feel blessed and I'm very grateful, but God, I have 7 albums worth of lyrics and I'm trying not to repeat myself. So I'm talking about things that I just hadn't really ever considered talking about. So it should be an interesting album. I don't know if anybody's going to hear it in this day and age, with the way music's going and streaming and everything, but I got that fan base that'll listen.
Yeah.
Hopefully a couple of them.
Do you guys have a name for it yet?
No, I don't really name the records until right before the artwork needs to be done.
Oh, okay.
I kind of let the album give me its title when it's ready. Similar to when I write lyrics, it's kind of the same thing. I'll sit on a song for 2 years or 2 weeks and just wait, and at the last minute it'll tell me what it wants me to say. So, and I'm not the most prolific songwriter.
Like I think was it Michelangelo that he said like the marble already has the art, he just carves it away.
Well, exactly. I'm just like Michelangelo. I would look at that stone and be like, what kind of a penis do I want to put on that? I do. I really don't. I'm not a lyricist that has books and books of lyrics. It's to my detriment because it takes me a lot longer to make a record. But I always have found that some of the greatest songs that inspired me as a young man were written in 2 hours. By some of the greatest bands. I'm a huge Robert Smith Cure fan, and half of his hits have been, I've got this thing while he's in the studio and I just want to do it, and it becomes a song. So I guess maybe I pull from that kind of right brain sort of thing.
Mm-hmm. So I did hear was it Riptide on Facebook with
a little blurb of it?
Yeah, with like mandolins and piano and all
strings.
these different. Oh gosh, it sounded so pretty. I mean, what's it like working with so many different instruments to create one?
That's the greatest thing in the world. Dean. This is the song. So I met this young songwriter named Keith Longo, and he had sent me these 4 tracks, and he had a band that was destined to get signed, and they were going to be the next big thing, and it all fell apart, and he kind of wasn't sure what he was going to do with his life as a musician, and he became a songwriter, and he's been submitting to tons of bands. And in this day and age now, it's rare that an artist writes everything themselves. Even in the case of the Foo Fighters and stuff, it's a very collaborative effort, and this record's very collaborative. Island's got 2 songs on this record, and he submitted 4 or 5, and that's kind of what you do is, as a lyricist songwriter, you have people submit things, or you work with them on a song or 2 or 3 or 4. And he sent me 4, and I really loved this track. But it was it was more very contemporary, so it had like a drum loop and kind of all these things. And I can't do that. I can't make that kind of record. So I said to him, I said, listen, I love this, and I'm going to make it mine, and I'm going to make it sound like Candlebox, but I promise you I won't lose the integrity of what you're singing about and what you've written lyrically. So he had the first verse and the chorus written. I wrote the second verse and the bridge of the song with him. And I brought it to Dean, and Dean was like, listen, I think this needs strings, and it needs piano, it needs mandolin, it needs all these kinds of things that will make this song very special. And it feels absolutely right for the song. I mean, I if lightning were to ever strike twice for me as a musician, this would be that song, because it has all that element of heartbreak and loss that like a song like Far Behind had. I've written songs like this before, but I don't think as good as this. So it's an interesting track. I mean, we're still trying to figure out what we're doing with it. I haven't even sung the song in its entirety. There's a scratch vocal on that my manager loves and the producer loves, and I'm like, that's wrong. But there's a vulnerability in it that people are interested in. Far Behind is the same way. That was a one vocal tape for that song, and that version that's on the album was the demo version. It was recorded a year earlier. So I guess there's something to be said for those types of emotions and delivery and those types of things. So
do you think it'll be released before the album, or we just have to wait till February?
That would not be the first single. Would be, I mean, it would destroy us trying to release that as a first single. I don't think we could afford to release it as a first single. But it will definitely get out there somehow. There's a lot of really cool songs on this record, and I'm kind of, I don't have the funding to market it the way a traditional album is marketed, like say a Taylor Swift record or anything like that. I just don't have millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Right.
So I've got to kind of make sure I'm spending the money the right way to make sure that this record's heard.
Right. So is this the first time you've crowdfunded?
No, it's actually the third time.
How do you like that model?
It's a pain in the ass, but
Yeah.
it's amazing. Your fans, it's really difficult to create, a platform where your fans feel comfortable giving you money. People think of Candlebox, as a band that's been around 27 years. They must have millions and millions of dollars and all these types of things, but a career for 27 years costs a lot of money, and I have an independent deal. I'm an artist that's got a licensing deal only, so there's no major label throwing millions of dollars at me. So I've had to, resort to crowdfunding, and it's been amazing. We've raised, $100,000+ between two of these things, which is great because that allows that back end that we don't spend on the record to be used for marketing and to pay for those ads and things that we have to do to get on radio. But what I mean by it's a pain in the ass, it's like you sell 100 signed, handwritten lyrics, and people choose a song, and I write those by hand, and it's exhausting. I mean, who writes anything anymore? I did 100 of them, and my hand's like, after 3 hours, it's kind of like, I'm barely holding the pen, and I can't even read my own writing. So that, the fulfillment element of it is just a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But the fans are amazing for giving us the money to do it, and and the thing that's great about it is, I don't pocket any of that. It stays in an escrow account, and it earns a little bit of interest, and that money is used towards making this record, marketing the record, paying for the salaries and the bills and the touring and all that sort of stuff. So every last penny gets used towards making sure that everybody, is covered and things get taken care of to make this record, be recognized.
Yeah. I saw that you guys are now doing handwritten set
Set
lists
lists,
too.
yeah.
Yeah, for that. How's that been?
Well, see, I don't do them. I mean, Carlos was just printing them out. So we've sold like 24 of them. You know, people love that, and you know, it's just one of those things. Like, I guess people want that personal thing, and I'm happy to give it to them. You have Foo Fighters button there. I'm happy to give it to them. I just wish, you know, I wish that times were, you know, things were different, and I didn't have to do that, and I love the fact that the fans want it, but you know, it's a lot of work. You know, it like my whole day is, you know, here on the computer, typing and writing and printing and signing and interviews and you know, it's what it takes, but at the same time, it's like, God, I really just would like to sit and listen to music for, you know, 2 hours without having to do something.
I get it. I think people have this false sense that being a musician is like the rock star life, but instead it's like
so glamorous.
doing a little bit of everything.
Trays of meats and cheeses and fruits and in a solo cup.
So what? I mean, how is it producing an album and doing all this marketing now with all the digital elements than when you guys were first up and coming?
Well, it's an entirely different world. I mean, you know, there was no internet. There was no, you couldn't make a record on a computer. You had to actually record a tape. I remember when we first, the first record, I went to Warner Brothers in LA and I made 300 or 400 phone calls from an office phone to radio stations. And I was there for like 8 hours. Hey, it's Kevin Martin. I'm in a band called Candlebox. You received a single called Change. You know, we're a new artist signed to Madonna's label called Maverick. We'd love you to listen to it. Is there anything that we can do for you? Can we do, you know, a liner for you in case the record does well? I mean, it was just like, you do that, you know, as an artist. You think getting, you know, I guess it is, you create the band, you make a record, and you just think it goes out and people listen to it. And there's just so much that goes along with the process, and you know, I've seen it all. I mean, I guess I'm pre-internet and post-internet, and I've had to do everything. I mean, I sometimes think maybe I didn't do enough, and sometimes maybe I did too much. You know, I don't really know, but I'd hate to be a band right now that's young trying to start. I mean, the climate is just really, it's congested, and I don't know how a young band can even get anybody to listen to their music. You know, unless like you're a rapper or something, you know, and you've got like all these SoundCloud artists and stuff that are doing well. And by the way, you know, I mean, Post Malone I think he was a SoundCloud artist that people just started listening to his music, and it became viral.
Justin Bieber.
I don't know what the
MySpace.
I mean, I don't know what the longevity is for that type of a career. I mean, Justin Bieber, you know, he's an anomaly in the sense that he still has some sort of a hold of an audience, which I don't know why. I mean, because he's been gone for what, like 2-3 years now. He's not really done anything, and although I liked that last record he released with friends on it and stuff, I mean, I think Justin's an interesting character. I like his music, and I can appreciate his songwriting and his song crafting. I don't know what any of those artists are going to do in 10 years. It's just such a weird, God, it's a weird climate. I'm in a rock band, so like that, we're in the worst job in the world. I mean, it's like it's dying. Even though, you know, we have, like I live in Los Angeles, we have a radio station called K-Rock. You know, they talk about, gosh, rock and roll needs to come back, and this new Green Day song. I sent them my record, Disappearing Airports, last year or 2 years ago, and I know several of the people there, and they're like, "Oh, it's just too rock for us." Well, what do you mean? It's rock and roll. Rock and roll is rock and roll. You play Tool, you'll play Guns N' Roses, you'll play Slipknot, you'll play Korn, but you won't play Candlebox other than Far Behind or You. So, I don't know. It's weird.
It's what's comfortable.
It sucks.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, like with Spotify and being able to reach your fans with Twitter and Instagram, does that kind of help ease that difficulty?
There's 10% of our audience that pays attention to us on social networking. The rest of the people that come to see Candlebox play just kind of remember the first record.
Yeah.
I might be being a bit. It's probably the wrong thing to say, but I honestly feel that. I think that there's 10 to 20,000 people out there that care what I have to say socially, and there's another 100,000 that care what I have to say musically. So it's kind of a strange, unbalanced scale. And I don't pull punches. I'm not a big fan of President Trump, and I'm a staunch Democrat. I'm liberal, but I'm not a libtard. I believe in socialist medicine. I believe in universal health care. I believe in a government that takes care of the people, not a government that takes care of itself. And I freely state that socially. So I might actually be alienating an enormous amount of my audience, which is middle America and very Republican. But they're my opinions, and that's all they are. I mean, listen, if you like my music, like my music. If you don't like my opinions, don't listen to my opinions. They're just mine. They're just opinions, But
I think we've forgotten how to disagree.
It's okay to disagree. I've said it a million times. Like, I get people send me nasty messages on Twitter and stuff. I'm like, it's just my opinion, man. Like, I can say whatever I want to Donald Trump. You don't need to defend him. He doesn't care about me. By the way, he doesn't care about you. Most politicians don't. They don't care about us. Their job is to make money and become powerful and get lobbies and bills passed. I mean, if they cared about us, they'd all stop doing what they're doing and say, listen, don't pay me. Give the money to, unemployment. Give it to homelessness. Give my $250,000, $100,000, $175,000, whatever it is, to help the people. But they don't care. I mean,
unfortunately,
it sucks. And I love Barack Obama, but I don't agree with everything he did. Politicians are politicians. They're all full of shit. But we need somebody to drive the boat.
Yeah.
And hopefully they're listening to us.
Hopefully, maybe in the next one. So, again, on Facebook, you recorded a pretty sweet riff, and then software crashed. Your DAE crashed.
Oh, the DAE. Yeah,
do you have to redo it, or you just kind of?
No, it just sucks because you're in the middle of. That's why I was saying, back in the day, you recorded to tape, and if you fucked up, you just stopped it. But the tape machine didn't stop; it kept going. Like if you fucked up, you had to stop it. This computer would just stop in the middle and go, "I'm sorry, I'm not gonna work right now." So, I have a lot of fun with that sort of thing. I've been in a love-hate relationship with Avid Pro Tools for about 10 years. So any chance I get to yell at them, and I'll take it. It was obvious. It was right there on film. So that's what happens. That's what your program. But they'll come back to you and say, "Well, that's your computer, or that's this." And of course, it's not. It's just their digital analog. What's DAE stand for? Some crazy
something error.
Yeah, it's
like
digital analog error, some crap. Like it's just not computing.
Yeah, I've lost so much work.
Yeah.
And I grew up learning you have to save like every 30 seconds.
Oh, I have autosave set on my computer like 1 second.
Yeah.
we live in that world.
Yeah. Thank God for it sometimes, though.
Yeah.
Do you want to say anything about playing the air station, coming on base and playing for?
Yeah, I mean, we love playing for the troops. I mean, you know, my father was a World War II veteran, so my dad was born in 1922. We've been to the Middle East and played for the troops there in Kuwait, Baghdad, Basra, Abu Dhabi, all over the place. We've been to Okinawa,
Iraq.
Iraq. Yeah, so I mean, it's, you know, it's a real honor for me, and I think the guys in the band too. I mean, America owes a great amount. Americans owe a great amount of respect to the military and the boys and girls that serve this great country for keeping us safe. And you don't have to agree with endless wars, or, you know, we can talk about what's going on between Turkey and Syria and stuff like that. I mean, it's, you know, we are the gatekeeper. America we are the great gatekeeper. We are the greatest power in the world, and it's our responsibility to make sure that other people don't take advantage of other people. It doesn't always work, but these boys and girls that have enlisted selflessly and served this country and respect this country as much as they do, they deserve our respect 100%. And it's, for me to come play a show here is the greatest gift for me. I don't know what it means to them, but for me, it's huge. My father, you know, ran up that beach in Omaha, you know, and with nothing on his mind but surviving, and he enlisted freely. You know, I'll never know that kind of conviction or commitment. I'll never know that sense of patriotism. I respect it 100%.
Well, we thank you for coming in.
My pleasure.
Do you have any last thing to tell fans and our readers?
Record comes out next February. I mean, if you're gonna stream it, stream it overnight, so it streams like 100,000 times per person. I don't know. You know, it's hard to make music, but thank you for letting me do it for 27 years. You know, I mean, I have the greatest job in the world, and I'm very lucky and very fortunate. And there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't pinch myself that I was given this opportunity.